G'day, how's it going? Welcome to another bottle episode. Today's topic is Sparkledogs. Some people love them, some people wish they never existed, and some people don't even know what they are. So let's fix the latter first. What is a Sparkledog? To answer that, we have to take a long journey back through time, all the way back to the primal year of 2007.
Generic 2007 pop song. Auto-tune so all the voices sound weird. This is a pop song. It's 2007.
The emo subculture was beginning to dwindle because scene culture had made a very solid impact into mainstream trends. Everyone was letting their colors fly with the wackiest hairdos and so many accessories that you gotta work out by just putting them on. Furries had a very solid presence on the internet, all recently flocking to this brand new website called Fur Affinity, with plenty of characters inspired by these mainstream trends. They had the hair, they had the accessories, they had the wildly unnatural markings and rainbow gradients. It's unknown how or when the term Sparkledog was actually coined, but from my own experiences as a 12-year-old on Neopets at the time, the word Sparkledog was used as an insult for people with canine characters that they deemed that were too over the top. And you know what the internet likes to do when anything is too different? It became a meme. Some were all in good fun. Like, I actually recommend you try one of those make your own Sparkledog templates. They're actually really fun and great at destroying art blocks. While others actively rallied together in this whole anti-Sparkledog movement to spread their hatred for these characters that they deemed unnatural and unoriginal and a whole lot of other things that I've had to censor on this stamp. This was actually a real stamp that real people would proudly display on their DeviantArt profiles.
Disgusting!
For the next 5 years, we would continue to see Sparkledogs keep getting created, before fading into obscurity by 2013. Then, in 2017, some housewife star made a controversially bad dog food called Sparkledog, and all my Google search history research data was thrown off! But from what I've seen in the fandom personally, I believe Sparkledogs are back up on the rise. I think this is partially because, well, being over a decade old now, they're actually nostalgic, and aesthetic trends like Vaporwave making really saturated colors and super busy shapes a lot easier for most people to swallow. Which brings us to right here, right now, with you watching this video. Are Sparkledogs cringy? Are they a bad thing? Should we be shutting down these relentlessly rebellious rainbow roaches? No. I don't mean that just as a Sparkledog owner myself. All throughout human history and culture, you can find bright colors being used in art, fashion, and celebration, such as the kimono of Japan, the beaded jewelry of the Maasai, the dancing lions of China, and my personal favorite, the ALEBRIJES of Mexico.
Are those ALEBRIJES? But those are
Real ALEBRIJES, spirit creatures.
But away from humans, Mother Nature has also come out with some pretty radical designs. Allow me to show you the mandarin duck, the golden pheasant, the mantis shrimp, the lilac-breasted roller, the okapi, the blue-ringed octopus, the poison dart frog, the rainbow lorikeet, the rainbow fish, the dragonet, and every butterfly ever! Sorry about that. Coming back to modern life, we do have design guides in place, such as color theory. This is a visual guide on what colors to use best to get particular effects across by using a color wheel. This shows which colors contrast best, which ones blend, which ones complement, which ones give off particular feelings, all to help you create a color palette to help you achieve your goal best. People spend their whole lives studying and practicing color theory as professional graphic designers. But professional graphic design is very different to personal character design, because graphic design always has a specific purpose, such as it needs to be memorable, it needs to stand out on red, it needs to be legible on a small screen, it needs to represent an entire brand. Things that are practically considered and can be given constructive criticism to help achieve. Sometimes there will be a client who wants a terrible design, graphically speaking, and you try your best but you can't talk them out of it. So you spend hours and hours agonizingly creating this design that goes against all of your internal instincts. Then you hand it to the client and they love it. Nothing more you can do than shrug it off and accept their money. You did your job. A fursona's sole purpose is to represent someone in a way that they're pleased with. Doesn't have to be realistic, doesn't have to be aesthetic, doesn't have to be professionally designed. It's their way of self-expression, and it only needs to please them. So when you come across one that you're not a fan of, just remember the graphic designer. They're pleased, shrug it off. People are always finding new ways to express themselves or channel creativity, from minimalist paintings to the streets of Harajuku. Art is subjective, meaning whether or not it's enjoyable depends on the tastes of the person you ask. You'll get a whole spectrum of opinions, including the extremes from each end. Those that think it's the most wonderful thing ever created and they want to passionately share it with the world, and those that hate it so much that they actively slander it and would love to see it gone forever. It's when those two sides cross each other, we end up with a controversial mess of arguments. Now don't get me wrong, debate is a perfectly healthy thing, but suddenly being thrown into the opposite side to be eaten alive is not. Smearing someone with unwarranted negative criticism, publicly reposting art for the sole purpose of mocking it, editing someone else's art to fix it more to your tastes. Practices like these can brutally crush someone's artistic drive. I've seen it happen. Kids on Instagram posting their first fursona ever that they spent hours filling with all their favorite colors, only to be told it's cringe and wishing terrible things upon them. Most of them understandably give up, never touching an artistic tool ever again. However, over the years, I think we've been getting a lot better with this, and I think this is why Sparkledogs and just really complicated and unique designs in general are back on the rise. Furries are slowly feeling more comfortable to let all their colors fly as wildly as they need to because they know that a lot of the fandom has their back. The term Sparkledog actually isn't really an insult anymore, it's more a self-proclaimed title for particular characters or people that just love the massively colorful. Brightly colored characters are everywhere, and it's not just dogs either. Felines, avians, scalies, original species, and even Pokemon. But there are still plenty of classic mid-2000s style sparkles that I love genuinely, ironically, and nostalgically. But no matter which way you choose, there's no wrong way to sparkle. Well, besides forgetting to do this. Definitely no denying that sparkle critters aren't exactly the most practical of characters. Artists charge commissions by however long it takes to make them, so the most extreme sparkles can quite significantly drive up commission prices, with some artists just outright refusing to do them entirely. Which is perfectly acceptable, every artist has the right to refuse any commissions for any reasons. Being uncomfortable with extreme and inconsistent detail is an understandable one. Whenever I'm getting art of Spraggle done, I always ask the artist if they're okay with high-end Sparkledogs first. Finding a fursuit maker is even more difficult because on top of the labor cost as is, there are only limited fur colors to choose from. So a maker may just have to turn your Sparkledog purely on the fact that some of the furs they need don't exist. But don't lose hope. Oak Dragon, More for Less, Connie Says IDK, and Don't Hug Cacti are just a few makers that have happily brought some sparkle critters to life. And not to mention my very own Sparkledog that is in the works from Groovy Goat Costumes. So with all that's been said, just remember that every single day the fandom gets a little bit bigger and more fursonas are created. Over time, as you're scrolling through Twitter, walking through a convention, or frolicking through Federal Heart, you're bound to come across a few that you're not a fan of. Rather than scream and yell that your eyeballs have been so greatly offended, move along, let them be happy. If someone's having fun and they're not hurting anyone, let them like their things. A patron shout out to Crystal Draco. Thank you so much, Crystal Draco, for showing your incredible support for this channel and helping to bring this video to these guys. But of course, thank you for watching. Wouldn't be here without that. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!